So from 42 forms, one technique it's good to look at and practice. There's this sense of turning, brushing one hand across the other and stepping up. It's only a small technique, but it comes into the form in multiple places. In first section, we've got this press, turn, brush one hand off, the other, pull, and press. Turn, brush one hand off, pull, press. And so you've got that repeating twice. In the second section, very similar transition will get us moving into the Jade Lady Weaves the Shuttle technique. 1, 2, brushing the hand, and then the same sort of transition will come into the kicks. And in the third section, coming out of cloud hands, same sort of technique with the hands, boom, up onto the one leg stance. So what we've got essentially is a cutting action with the blade of the palm and then brushing with the other. Cut, brush is, well, how I often like to refer to it. From the press, of course, it's more of a rotation from here. If we're coming from the Jade Lady Weaves the Shuttle technique, it's more obviously a cut and a brush. But the essence of that movement is kind of the same in a few different spots in the form. So it is good to look at it and practice it a little bit. The way it manifests in that first section is my favorite because it's kind of the simplest. Press, turn towards the open side of the body. So if the left leg is forward, the left hand is the one that's going to be cutting with the palm up. Then the right hand brushes, pull in, and press. Of course, if we're coming from the Jade Lady Weaves the Shuttle, 1, 2, basically the same contrivance there. Right leg's forward, the right palm turns to face up, as if you're cutting with the edge of the palm, brush, step up, and press. Turn and cut, brush. As the hands come in, the foot comes in. As the foot steps out, the hands press out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll notice it requires slightly greater flexibility than some of the other Tai Chi routines, particularly slapping the foot. Now, it's more important to have good posture and bearing than it is to reach your own foot. You'll see people sacrificing that, of course, fairly frequently to try to reach the foot, this rounding out of the back. So we want to maintain your bearing, try to keep the back upright. And if that means you need to slap the shin, but you can't reach the foot, it'll start to, you'll often cheat it a little bit, that's normal, but we don't want to be hunching. So absolutely fine to practice, boom, here if it helps you maintain your posture, that's more important. When it comes to then conditioning the legs, one of the main advantages to training the external styles was getting good at kicks. And you've noticed that when it came to the Tai Chi, particularly the slapping outside kick. If the hip range of motion isn't quite there, or you haven't done that basic foundation kicking practice, you'll often get this little circle. You can't get that full kick, that full range of motion. To get the range of motion, basic kick training. I probably should do a dedicated video for that. But here's the theme. We've got front kick, cross kick, and side kick. So you can have the hands on the hips or out to the side. you're trying not to move the body at all, but just kick. Step one leg, kick with the other, and together. Then step, kick, and together, step, kick, and together. So you've always got that posture and bearing, and you're working quite a lot through the hip flexor, and because you're strict with the posture, boom, it's all in the hamstrings here. And again, it doesn't matter if it's a low kick. What matters is that you're training the movement patterns you want to be better at for the form, for your posture, for your martial arts training. Hands out, step, together, step, kick, together. The cross kick, the posture is the same, but rather than in front here, we'll go a little bit as if you're going to kick across in front of the other shoulder, a little bit across the body. So that means the buttocks are going to be doing more. There's a greater stretch for the buttocks, and they're more active to pull the leg back and down together. So for that one, cross the body, and continue. You will really notice the difference there in the buttocks. Exactly the same stepping. You step with one leg, kick with the other together, step with the kicking leg. Now we've covered front, across the body, and then if we look at that side action, then you've got the 3 points of that circle. So there's 2 side kicks. Side with the heel, and then the side that's kind of a vertical kick, but it's still up to the side of the body. So for this one, we'll usually step across with the one foot, keep the body facing here, and the kick comes out to the side. So if we're coming down across the room, it may be this contrivance. Right leg step, body's facing the right, left kick up behind your hand. Right leg step again, left kick. The other direction. And that gives us, again, we've practiced here, practiced here, practiced here. We can then work that full outside-inside kick range in with the training. Obviously, these are going to be useful warm-ups, much more gentle if you just do a bent leg version, hip circles in, hip circles out. And then the kick, the way we usually do in the Tai Chi forms, isn't a straight leg kick the whole way through, but usually the knee is lifted and bent, then the kick happens, and then we bend again. So it is a little bit softer, it's a little bit more forgiving in some ways. And so the drill then you can practice. You can have a hand holding on for balance if you like, is lifting the knee, extend the kick and down. Lift the knee, extend the kick and down. Technically it's the hip flexor that lifts the leg, and then it's the glutes, it's the butt that pulls the leg out to the side. If the hip flexor is still on and you're trying to engage the glutes, they perform opposing actions, more or less. So you need the hip flexor to turn off for the glutes to be able to pull the leg out. And that can be a little bit tricky. What it means is the hip flexor just wants to, boom, engage to get the leg moving, but as soon as the leg started moving, it already wants to be turned off. So you're trying to be really relaxed. You engage it once quickly, but then you're relaxed, you're soft, you let sort of momentum do the rest. And then from the peak, the hip flexor's off by then, the glute, boom, pulls the leg out to the side. Sometimes it does help to relax the leg if you're practicing with the knee bent, boom, then straighten out through that mid-range. Kicking with the right leg here, if the kick is coming across to the right, the hands want to be facing the right. Again, you can absolutely slap the shin is much better to slap the shin with upright bearing than it is to try to slap the foot while rounding out the back. Both hands, 1, 2. 1, 2, moving through. To punch in the form. So if we're doing that full technique in the context of the form, empty stance, hands are across the body, circle the hands first, then the fingers are going to face the right, kick will come from there. So empty stance, hands across, circle, punch. And of course you can practice outside and inside kick with the same stepping method. Inside kick, not quite as relevant to the form, but good to practice anyway. So conceptually that covers the main aspects of the kick. You need to work on range of motion of the hip, be able to kick across the body, be able to kick out to the side, and then you can start working that mid-range.